Okay. Didn't mean for that to cut out like that. So, just notify everybody. All right. Now, I'm I'm Let's do a quick test. All right. Where did we leave off? I think fans. Man, I just don't want to hear myself. That's kind of the problem right now. So if anybody out there knows a quick fix for that, yeah. All right. There's got to be a way to filter that. All right. Man, I could still hear myself. How about now? Yeah, it's still outputting. This is really weird right now. I'm getting this weird feedback where it's a delay between me talking. All right, still. This thing's fighting me. I do not understand how it's outputting any audio to me right now. Because it really shouldn't be. So, man, that's really annoying. Okay, I'm just going to keep going forward. I'll troubleshoot that another day. All right, so fans, 12 volt. That's where we kind of left off. I'm not a fan of the Noctua. That's a 5-volt fan, and we put a lot of stuff on the 5-volt rail. So if you didn't watch the little intro, and I heard that there wasn't any audio, so I'm gonna go over this real quick. Here's my lid setup. Um, this was inspired a little bit by my buddy Travis. He really said, "Hey, you need to have these buttons as flush as possible." So I found these. This one lights up blue. This one lights up orange. Now, this style of on and off, like the push button style, I could not find. I could not find one that was flush. Like it just doesn't exist. So, sorry, Travis. This is what we got. Glows orange, and that will actually show you a status of the blue retro, which is right here. Which is ESP32. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty cool. It does do game controllers, mice, keyboards. It can support the Rumble Pack and a VMU. I am not totally sold on it yet, but keeping an open mind. I think there might be some problems with using this along with the USB for Maple. So, getting back to it, just kind of the top. So I made it so that you can break away everything, so that you can take the top off for maintenance. If anything were to pop up, like what we're going to be doing today. This one I kept orange. So if you see my breakdown video for Retrodream, that's what this setup is for Retrodream. I'm holding on to the orange light. A lot of people switch this out for blue. I'm going to designate that for GDMU builds. And that's when you do the mod for the battery. So make sure you do your breakaways. It'll, trust me, just do it. You'll save yourself a headache. Another thing, you got to print off your 3D print to replace the standard little slider. And you got to work this thing in. A little bit of grease would go a long way with it. Just use it. Works pretty well. Print type, ABS, PETG, ASA. Choose your poison. But yeah, that's the lid. with the mods. Oh, these holes are 1/2 inch. I don't know if you're like me, you like visuals. Just trying to give you different angles. Pretty straightforward though. All right, just kind of tearing our way down. Here is my Dream Pie setup for the modem. This will not really ever disconnect, so it's just now just part of the Dreamcast. I cut a small slit. Now our Dreamcast Live buddy is gonna be like, no, don't modify the case. I'm sorry, it's been modified. But yeah, that's kind of the path. This is a Zoom 56K modem. I use this style for the voltage injector. Ooh, where is that? Man, that focus is kind of trash. If anybody wants to gift me a better live streaming camera, I'll happily redo all this with something fancier. Yeah, sorry for the quality. The other camera just decided to quit. But yeah, this is what I use. VIN in is 5 volts, and then you just turn the knob right up to 9 volts, 9.25, 9.5, 10. That's good for USA. Anybody that's doing anything over in Europe, PAL based, you're going to need 18 volts. USA 9, Europe 18. And that's all stuffed. That's all stuffed inside of the 56K modem right here. So it's just one little package. It's interesting. The Pi is more powerful than this modem, and it's like the modem's way bigger. Whatever. Moving on. All right. So for this build, again, 12-volt fans. We went with a Pico power supply. It's about, I think it's 200 watts max, maybe 180. This thing is way overkill, but you gain a whole lot of space. As you can see, everything breakaway again so that you can pull everything out. I kept some of the screws undone here so that I can just move a little bit faster. And this is just to secure that controller. So I like to cover up all my connections on the bottom here. This is very well documented. I didn't do anything special here. Just basically, hey, this is how the blue retro hooks up. Slap a little bit of electrical tape on there, and I just feel safer that nothing will ground out. All these little dots right here, that is all a ground plane. So have at it. Then what do we have going on here? So we have our power. That's that switch, that push button switch that's on the lid. All that does is turn the ESP32 on and off. And then this is your setup for the light, the notification. And this is where I'm going to actually do that modification with that small board. What did I do with it? It was here. Oh, jeez. We had it in the last stream, and I apparently set it down somewhere. Somewhere very important. It's one of the smallest buck converters. Here it is right here. It takes 4 volts to 30 volts in this little package right here. This one right here, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but yeah, there's the writing's on the back. You got 4 to 30 volts in, ground, and then out 5 volts and 9 volts. Now the light that's on the front for that push button is a 12-volt LED. So I'm going to actually, there's a little jumper here that you bridge, and that'll give me my 9 volts. And then every time it flashes, it'll send 9 volts instead of 3.3. That way, it'll just be brighter because right now it's just a little under the desired side in my, for my taste. Standard kind of kit for your diode, your resistor, your removable battery. As I said before, the kit typically comes with a blue LED. I'm keeping orange for this build just because the SD HD is kind of more of an old school mod, so it's something that I've wanted for a long time. What else on here? New capacitor, right next to the capacitor, the little brown piece. The camera's having a little trouble there. That's a resettable fuse. What else do we got here? Yeah, when you do your light, make sure you got a 330 ohm or 370 ohm resistor between 3.3 volts and to the TX out, which is actually just signal pin, and that'll help it from frying shit, apparently. That's it on the controller. We'll move over to here. This is a 2 terabyte SSD. Pretty cheap, pretty standard. I don't know. Don't really need to go over that too much. It works. That's all that matters. Let's see here. Now, these kits, there's a couple different types. I'm going to go grab the other one in just a second here. One thing to note is it comes with the 2 screws, and then it has these standoffs that you want these plastic standoffs. It does help with the rigidity and just keeps things from moving around. Just a little more professional, I would say, like on the mounting. There's some important things on this board. There's a couple of different styles. This one has a lot of controller bits on the back. The most important piece is right here. This is a like a 33.896 active crystal. What this does is when this board is plugged in, the Dreamcast will have the signal to, it's like B23. Don't quote me on this. You can look it up. It's pretty quick to find, or just drop a message to remind me. Because you can get your own crystal. Here, I'll show you. I've already done this as a proof of concept, just so that I know how to do it. I'm grabbing that other board. So here's another board with, this is the signal. The yellow is the signal which comes over to our IDE connector to the board, which connects to the main GD-ROM connector. And then what you have is your red. What do we got here? Yeah, 5 volt and then a ground. Red is for 5 volt, orange is ground, and I can actually read this. 33.8688 megahertz active crystal. With this hooked up, the Dreamcast won't know the difference if there's a GD-ROM there or not. Now, there is a hack where you don't need the active crystal and it's a single line jumper. That is actually on Dragon City's website. If you can't find it there, what was it? The guy that does the fan mod, the PWN fake fan mod, he also uses that internal connector. So, sorry, I'm getting distracted. I did add some heat sinks here, and they actually need to be sanded down. So these 2 points right here, we want to get some heat sinks. If you don't have the metal heatsink that goes on the bottom, I normally remove it because for all the wires and everything I'm running, it does interfere, and don't want to risk shorting anything out. So I'm experimenting with some basic heat sinks. These are slightly too tall, so I need one like half the height, and that'd be perfect. Yeah, but yeah, there's the crystal mod, and this is another board. I'm working on some flash mask ROM. This is your region. I burned this one out, so we're gonna figure out how to pull it off a working board and put it on, or reprogram, I should say, with a fresh chip because these 25-year-old consoles, they're getting there. So, with that being said, if you search AliExpress for this board, this is the one you want. I did have to modify it right here to support the fan, but this is the one. You could get away with this one here. The idea that they had with this one was you would stack your GD-ROM on top of this, and I really thought it was the dumbest idea. So this is just using a standard IDE to SATA adapter. These are a dime a dozen. You can get them everywhere. So you can actually wire this directly yourself if you're feeling ambitious. I have done that in the past, and ever since these boards came out, I sort of said, nah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. It was too risky. You can actually see some of my old repairs that I had to do, uh, getting down to the trace line. It's not fun when you lift a pad with these old boards because they're getting old, like straight up. They just don't hold together. All right. So this one will work, but you'll need to do that crystal mod or that single wire mod so that it thinks that it has a GD-ROM. Even if you plug a hard drive in like this, it won't have that signal in order to be like, yeah, everything's good. And then you'll get a really slow boot. Um, it just won't look like OEM. All right, that kind of covers the adapters. Pico PSU, it does use a barrel connector. I found a 3 amp is good enough. A lot of places are like, hey, you need this fancy 5 amp. I haven't seen this Dreamcast pull enough wattage to justify 5 amps. So somebody out there in the wonderful world of Dreamcast modding, please tell me otherwise and I'll happily switch, but I'm yet to really see justification for that. All right, so on my board here, I do have an HDMI mod, and you do need to cut right here. I did use a little bit. Yeah, if you know your heatsink, this is just a little tab right here. I use a Dremel, cut it down, cut it down. Make sure that there's no sharp edges, so sand it, make sure it's smooth and you can't cut yourself. If you can cut yourself, well, it's gonna cut a cable. And you're gonna get blood everywhere, and panic will happen, and yeah, it's scary. Anyways, a little bit of a compound. I'm sure that this may or may not help, but I figured why not? Doesn't need a lot. You don't need it to go crazy. It's just a little bit extra. Yeah, we're getting down to the bottom here. So is there anything on top? We got a Retrodream mod chip here. I'm wondering if, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the lights that I got over here are a little too much. All right, just a standard BIOS swap. Yeah, this camera sucks, boys and girls. camera sucks. I hate this camera. Can't believe that it can't focus on that automatically. Wow. So your standard BIOS mod. This is a V1. So if you're looking at the wiring and you're going, hey, what is this all about? Yeah. Wow, there's like no autofocus options on this camera. I am sorry, everybody. I feel like I have failed you all. I am just blown away. Well, nothing. All right, well, that's why they got high definition cameras, right? Hmm. The ADD is strong right now. I'm trying to do something that we don't need to do. Only if it was readily available. All right, next time. Okay, so we know about the BIOS. And we're getting down to the bottom of this board where we're going to actually do some work here. Being very careful because I'm really getting tired of fixing this thing. All right, so what do we got going on? This will be removed. I might just tuck it and leave it there. Who knows? What that is the region change mod. Even with a hacked BIOS, I was told that you should be able to just simply, um, in Retrodream or Dreamshell, just go to the region changer and change it. I am yet to see that work without this mod. What it is you do one wire. Oh man, this is way too tiny. So your power is in the lower right. You're gonna find a small little MOSFET D503, and then you're gonna see a resistor uh, R512, and you want to put it on the bottom half so that it lines up with the two pads at the bottom of this little MOSFET. I don't think this is a MOSFET, but I'm just gonna call it that because it's it's close to what that looks like. But just find R512 and go on the bottom of that for your signal wire. And then that goes to your switch, or you can wire it directly to your 12-volt line, and then that gives you power. I do not like to wire this directly and turn on the system, go do the region change. No. The reason why is because it can overheat that mask ROM and burn it out. Ask me how I know? Because I burned out my flash ROM. Remember the other board that I had up? Yeah, so that happened. All right, so how I do that is I have it on the switch. I go into region change and I change it, turn on the switch, save, and then once it says successful, I shut off the Dreamcast and then turn this off. Remember, folks, always back up your flash mask ROM before doing any modifications. Only hit the right button or save button once. What does that mean? You make the change, you save, you shut it off. You don't make the change and then go, oh, I want to go to Japan instead for my region, and then shut it off. You will burn out your mask ROM. Flash mask ROM. There we go. So be very careful with that. I am working on a fix so that if you do accidentally do that, no problem. All right, we'll move straight down on the board. There's a chip right here over in the left. There is a trace line that goes to this little section right here. I know the camera sucks, but if you look this up, these pads right here, they're open. I have mine bridged right now. Why? The trace line that goes from these bridge points go back to this chip. This is your signal for the fan. You cut the trace line right here and you bridge these points. Then you can use whatever fan you want at whatever speed you want. You can remove your fan for testing purposes, makes your life easier. Okay, what's next? These two over here, these red lines, that applies directly to the HDMI mod. Reset switch. I don't want to get too far away from that. This is the yellow wire right here. So you have R201, which is a single pad, and this will go to one side of the switch, and then the other side goes to your ground. What are these 4 wires? Power for the LED, ground for the LED, ground for the reset switch, and the reset switch signal. That's your 4 wires. If you have Retrodream or even GDMU, you want a reset switch. Trust me on this. Over here then, this section is highly documented by Dragon City. So if you want to do an SD card mod, this is the location that I highly recommend. It tucks in there very nicely. And I used to not have any problems. And that's where it leads us to next. Oh, since we talked to HDMI, I'm going to remove this. All right, so I do have an HDMI board in here right now. Not recommended. I'm not going to go and buy another board because I already cut. But this board right here is found on AliExpress for like 50 bucks. Maybe with tariffs, it's now like 1,000 or something. Ridiculous. Yeah, I know it's not, but fucking stupid. This board, it works. It does give you HDMI, but there's some... I'm not super happy with it. There's a little bit of electrical engineering work that needs to be done on this that I think they got lazy with it. This is like high speed let go or something like that is the manufacturer. Normally they're pretty good. But this board, I am highly skeptical of it. Now, what board should I get? Pixel FX Retro Gem Shiny. Yeah, that's the name of it. Pixel FX Shiny. Retro Gem, you can search for it, you'll find it. Fantastic. Absolutely the best on the market, and it's the one I recommend. That is what's in my other build, and we'll do a teardown of that. But this board right here, I can't recommend it. They did some things. The reason why I have the electrical tape on here, this section right here, this IC right here, this SMD mount power, what the hell is it? It's not a capacitor. Man, somebody can tell me in the comments or later on, somebody that has better electrical engineering skills and memory. This actually hits that board, and it was causing some problems as far as video display. Like I saw a lot of like on some boot ups, I'd have to shut it off, turn it back on, and it would be all scrambled, and I would make some adjustments on the connector and on the board, and boom, it would fire up fine. And I was like, well, what the heck? Now you can see, put some electrical tape across this and secured it, and I haven't had any problems since. So, high speed let go, you got some things to do. Yeah, I also do HDMI installs. So if you need your cable installed or the whole thing, Pixel FX is the only one I'll do. So it just promise. I promise you that if you get the Pixel FX, you'll be happy. All right, enough of that. Let's get to actually doing some work here. Yeah, I got this modified too that I haven't done for the ESP32. We got a nice little hole here. That's going to be where the Bluetooth will be. You just push that and the light will flash and it'll be all nice and clean, and hopefully Travis approves of it because he's the only one that I need his approval. I highly doubt he's going to watch this, but if he does, who's Travis? All right, so what do we got here? This board, it worked. Adafruit makes it. It is an SD card breakout board. It supports 3-volt and 5-volt, and just your standard hookups for any SD card. CSDI, DO, MOSI, MOSO, clock, ground, 3-volt, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I have no idea why this just stopped working. And that is what we're going to fix today. So, unedited raw from my house to yours. And no, this isn't what I do for a job. Now, we gotta do a little cleanup. Yeah, all this stuff hanging off kind of poses a little bit of challenge when you make some changes. Oh no. Is it going to reach? It's got a new configuration. Which is fine. I can always do a connector, and yeah, the orientation of this board is changed. And it made it way, way shorter. So something you can't really see on camera. I'm looking to see where it needs to be mounted and secured. So, whoa, not cool. And that's how you lose a small resistor, and then you spend 3 hours cursing, blaming everybody but yourself. Alright, so off screen I do have some hot glue. That's what I normally use for these. So what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to have this go to a connector, and then yeah. So I'm making sure that the functionality allows you to still get at the SD card. And then I'm just going to take some hot glue and put it in place. I did already test this, so I'm not crazy worried about it working right now. I'm worried about is just a little bit of glue getting in the wrong spot. Either you know of this and have experience. Hey. Ah, hot. Now we wait. Yeah, the camera not really picking it up too well. Sorry. Sorry, sorry. That should work pretty well. Now I wish I had a little fan. Now I wish I could fast forward. So what am I doing right now? I'm actually holding with my left hand and taking the stress off the cables with my right hand by just moving the board forward and just putting a little bit of pressure so that that SD card sits where I want it to, where it just pokes out just a little. And there's more than enough space for the modem. Yeah, I could use a little fan. Almost done. Yeah, I don't see anybody. Oh, we got somebody. Orange. NTSC signal. Sorry. Orange for those NTSC boys. Ah, sorry I didn't catch this earlier. NTSC. All right, so if you do Retrodream, I don't know if you're still watching or not, but Retrodream works better in PAL, or just set it to Europe. A lot of people will say, well, region free, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, I did a lot of testing, and there's people smarter than I that have verified this. I don't know if it has something to do with the dumps or how it's switching, but Switch your Dreamcast. To Europe. This is from Dragon City. They did all the testing. I'm just a modder. Now, I don't know if I can get away with a test here. I really want to. Doubt it. Yeah, that sucks. All right, so how do I want to do this? I already have a cable prepped. So can extend it and I'll resolder it. All right. I think it's 6, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right. I am grabbing my connectors so that we can build a cable. All right. Now, I don't know if y'all want to sit here and watch me build a cable with 6 connectors. Don't know if many people like this kind of content, because it can be kind of boring. And the amount of streamers that we have. All right. Gotta get bright here so that plenty of room. Just getting my crimpers together here, folks. I got a couple different types, different sizes. This is your pretty standard one that everybody seems to use, 20 to 26. And how small is that cable? The thing that sucks is my eye crimp isn't latching anymore. Just let's go, and you want it to crimp or hold or latch, I should say more specifically. I mean, it used to. Such is life. All right. So, start by thinking, where do I want to go with this cable? I think I can avoid quite a few cuts here. Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of regretting this, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm pulling these out because I want to ensure that there's no shorts underneath where that cable runs. I just don't like how it looks. So, clean it up, crimp it up, heat shrink it. Make it all fancy. Nice and clean. Some people will ask, why didn't I make red, power, and black, and da-da-da? Well, folks, sometimes the colors just don't line up. Man. Not all ribbon cable is made the same. So right here, I'm just getting the cables so that they're all even. Going to cut them, make it nice and flat, and then strip, crimp. Where I gotta be extra careful. The last thing I need to do is pull on the board in a way that it knocks something loose. happy, joy, joy. All right. I definitely want some heat shrink. Now, for my heat shrink, help me out, team. Where the heck? There's my crimper. That's a dream pie. You know, I amaze myself with I think I'll be able to get this with a little bit of stretching. Where am I? So, what am I going to do here? Yeah, if you guys can't see something, please let me know. I'll adjust. So, what am I doing with this? I'm actually stretching out the heat shrink. Because what I want to be able to get the base of the heat shrink around my connector to protect those wires. I just found that it's a nice little additive. And then on top of that, I'm going to heat shrink each individual wire to the pin. Tedious, yes. More reliable, yes, in my opinion. So green is our power, is one thing we need to remember very much. Yeah. We're not working on that cable. Just kind of stretch and stretch, stretch. Don't know if that's enough. Doesn't quite feel like it. Like, I think this will be okay. I would like to get it around the base, but I don't see that happening. Yeah. That's the best we're gonna do. That's okay. Alright. One down. Yeah, one thing. This wire's so fine. It likes to kind of flail out. It's not my favorite ribbon cable to work with. Do do do. How in the world did they wrap this? There we go. Alright. Now I'm just cutting some. I'm gonna get these as straight as possible, at least on one side. One side that's going to face the connector. 4, 6. Oh no. Is this stuff not? Oh, we went too small, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I don't like that. Too small. I'll save those for a future project. I gotta go one size up. Again, ribbon cable. It's not the same with every manufacturer. Off camera, I'm just doing these quick cuts. Same as the first. All right. Normally, I really wouldn't live stream this. Building cables is, most people don't care. They just want to see the finished product. Dun, dun, dun. And I feel like I should have put some Phantasy Star Online music going. Something. Apparently, that soundtrack is, a lot of people like it. I hear Jet Set Radio is another one. I don't know. You be the judge. You guys tell me if you want some music while I work on this. I'll go grab it, or somebody can link it. I don't think anybody's actually watching. That's alright. I'm only doing this because I can today. Normally this is not. With all my camera trouble and everything, you can tell like this ain't my thing. Okie dokie. Alright, where's my connector? So now we're gonna take this. Boom, boom, boom. And this goes on the flip side for the other plug. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna use these. Like, the fuck? Grr. Alright, time to solder. My favorite. Do, do, do. I am setting up my clamp here. I really don't need that. crowd my spot. All right. Most of this build, I didn't use all my tools. It made my life way easier. So if y'all are into modding, use the shit you buy. Right. Let's see here. How do I want to do this? I just want to tin it ever so slightly. And keep your heat shrink out of the mix when you do this. This, I already made a mistake. Kind of want to go with the same color. This is ground. Goes power, ground, clock, DODICS. So yeah, I gotta pull up something on my other screen. So if we're going in order, Moso is yellow. What's clock? Clock is SCK, which is red. SCK. Moso is yellow. All right. C. Is that next? Moso, Moc, and then CS. All right. Yeah, CS is brown. That's in the middle. Cable. Let's get this out of the way. So hopefully it's had enough time to cool. So I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but try to get it all flat. And then we'll hit it with the hot air. Well, come on. Just see the glue. A little bit of a spill over here. Hold on. I'm trying to be responsible with this soldering station, and it's totally getting in my way right now. All right. So now try to stretch that out as much as I could. Normally this combo is pretty solid. Normally. All right. Kind of squish that glue. Cool. All right. How much longer do we want to go? Let's take a look at what we actually need. does give us some new options. Hmm. This will be interesting. I'm not. What am I thinking here? What am I thinking? Okay. So again, as I talked about before, with all right. Glad I looked at this because we gotta. It's kind of gonna take this wire and we're gonna do kind of something like this. It's gonna be like that because it comes in from the side, which is not ideal in my opinion. But yeah. Yep. But at least it'll be detachable now. Before it was not. So let's see here. Kinda thinking. Lay like this. Yeah, it's not a crazy long cable. I guess my concern is really this other cable here. I may need to reroute it a little differently. But I think we got our length. Nice part about this side of the cable is we can move them around in case I accidentally crimp them wrong or put them in the wrong position. All right, crimping cables. If you haven't done this before, get yourself a crimper and build something. Super duper useful. And after this, I'll check continuity on the other end. Make sure that everything is happy. I used to actually put a little dab of solder on where it crimped to hold it together, and I did a little stint in biotech, and they do not do that in the industry. So here I was trying to be extra careful about my crimps, and all the big time engineers are like, no, it's not needed. In fact, they use something called a ferrule or a ferrule, however you want to pronounce it. Um, and a lot of the industries are actually just going back to bare wire and not using a ferrule or any crimp connector like this. I found that really amusing. Don't know why, but I been told I'm a little weird. But if you're watching my stream, you're in good company. Yeah, the thing that I hate the most is crimping this stuff and the connection isn't good, or I have to do a dab of solder in order to make good continuity. Hey, look at that. Yeah, I don't know if this is picking up on what I'm actually doing. It's just crimping cables. And what I try to do is, I wish the camera could pick it up, but I try to get the insulation on the very first crimp, and then there's a smaller crimp in the middle, and that's where I want my main connection. Doesn't always work, and I already see a problem. See that? It's gonna fall off. Yeah. Yeah, these little cables. Kind of a pain in the ass. Right, one more. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that there's a little tab on the connector itself, and if you just toss it into the crimper, uh, you might have the connector in there too far. When that happens, it'll actually crimp that main connector that actually clips into the plastic Molex connector. I don't know if this is Molex or not, but this plastic piece, it has little areas where it clips, and that's how it holds the cable in. So if you put the little connector in here and you crimp down on it, sometimes what can happen is you actually smash this little tab that actually holds it in the connector. Yeah, be careful. So what am I doing right now? I'm gonna fix that yellow connector with just a little bit of solder. Yeah, I know. Talked about it. Industry standard. They don't do that. Yeah, it totally broke off. So I'm glad that I checked that one. Sucks because I had it all nice and organized. And it just crimped down on it too hard, and it actually snapped the cable. So hopefully that one's a little bit better. And if you don't think that it crimped it hard enough, you can always go back in there. Yeah. Ah, man. I did something. I don't know how I did that. So I had a connector that looks pretty mauled somehow. So I'm gonna replace it because better now than later. And if you buy these connections, buy extra of these connectors. You will go through more than what you require. Like I only needed 6 and now I needed 8. And the wife always asks me, "Well, why does this always take so long?" Well, perfection. Oh, man. Okay. That was my fault. I tried to move too quick and I sort of pulled away when I shouldn't have and it's snapped it. So just being mindful of that. There we go. Much better. All right, hopefully everybody plays nice. Okay. How does that connector go again? So 3.3 is pin 1. Whoops. Pin 1. Pin 2. Then CLK. CLK is red. Got one of them. One of them that's not snapping in. That's what I was talking about. If you accidentally crimp your little connector, that's basically a clip. Now you can bend it back, but you got to be careful. Where's my X-Acto? There we go. Doesn't take a lot. Just need to get it to kind of stick up a little bit. There we go. All right, so then we got red. Red is CLK. DO. DO is yellow. At least for my color code, yours might differ. What is my orange? Orange is my MOC. I do not have these memorized, by the way. MOC. I have on my team. Oh my gosh. Joy. On my other screen, I have a pinout that shows these cables here. And I have a board right here. And I'm using that for my order because that's what it originally was. Oh man. So full disclosure, I was actually crimping that too small. And I was causing some problems. All right, so orange. Orange is our MOC. And then cable select, finish it off. And we are almost done. So I had some heat shrink here. I am going to put a little bit on this. It doesn't need a ton, but they'll help one another stay put. This gets so damn hot that I'm just doing this off camera just because of the positioning is not ideal. Hot, hot, hot. There's some glue in there. It's to a point where it's hot, but not horrible. Just holding it in place. All right. Glue. is settled and sturdy. Sturdy enough, I should say. And I'm going to cut it here.